Dear Totties, so here's the next digital tool for you. It's all about preparing the call and what you need to take into account when preparing a call for your TPC. So the call is a little description of the course that you're doing. It's published around in the field so people can read it and apply for your training course. The call has three main elements. It's the course description, the draft program, and the application form. The course description is composed by a few elements which are listed here: title, intro, aims and objective, target group, approach, and additional information. And we go into each one of them in the following slides. So the title is the essence of what you're going to do. You can give them a peek into the course. Sometimes it's catchy, but it doesn't have to be. The second part are the dates and the duration and the location, so people know if they are available in that time, that it's an option. So here they already can select for themselves if this is something they want to do. Then you have the introductory paragraph, or the first chapter, let's say, where you explain a bit what is the motivation to do this course, what are the needs behind it, which challenges you have seen and you are addressing or tackling. And you can do that in different ways. You can just give some information. This is what we're going to do. But sometimes people are also adding some questions. What are the dilemmas? Are you ever unsure about this? Do you feel challenged when you have to do this? Do you have dilemmas around working with young people? So these kind of questions where people could say, yes, I have, that can be very engaging, and it helps people to kind of identify themselves with the target group that comes later. Here you can also decide to write in a third-person version, like this is what's going to happen, but you can also address the reader themselves. So do you have, so we invite you to come. So this kind of things are possible, and this helps you, or this helps the reader to make a difference between what they hear, what they read, and decide for themselves if this training course could be something for them. So what is this training course for? So what is the impact that you expect? And here comes the aims and objectives. The aims is defining what is that you want to achieve. So what for? What is the change you want to see in participants? Are they going to be more equipped to do something? Will they have more tools to do something? Do they have a better understanding? Or did they find new ways to look at a topic? Have they conceptual discussions or experience something themselves? So that is what you explain with the aim. And then the objectives are the way how to get there. So which steps do you take to get to your aim? So if you want to equip people, first thing maybe you have to do is to create an environment where they can learn from each other, or you create a discussion around the topic of inclusion. What does inclusion mean? Maybe you're going to visit an organization to see it. Maybe you share videos, examples. So think, what are the ways, the process, what's going to be the process and the conditions for you and for participants to get to the aim, to reach the aim. So then what you decide also is the target group. You can decide to put this earlier. If you think this is really important to say immediately in the beginning, you can also do that or put it later. Depends what you feel. So this, what is the target group? That's quite difficult because in Europe, the profession of youth worker is not always the same. So maybe the youth worker doesn't always say what you think. So you can describe the profession. Sometimes we also we invite educators, teachers, youth workers. You can name them like this. They can describe how they work with young people, what kind of activities they do, what kind of organization they work in, describe which young people they work with. Sometimes you work with a specific, for example, need young people or people with certain disabilities, or rural area or migrants. So you can describe if you have specific target group, or you can make it with diverse group of young people. So it can be all kind of things. But that's sometimes more helpful for people to identify to say, yeah, that's the people I work with. Instead of saying I'm a youth worker or a youth leader, could also be. And maybe describe the experiences or competences they need or want to develop. In some cases, you can describe the age. For example, I had one training course when we really were targeting, let's say, starting professionals and voluntary youth leaders. So then we really said, okay, we want to have young people in our target group, and that was appealing for them because they knew that when they applied, that all the people would be like say similar age and similar level of experience. So that can be an minimum is always 18. Maximum you don't have to write. When you have the aims and objectives, of course, one of the things that people also want to know is how will you work with the topic. So social inclusion can be done in so many different ways. So how will you work with your participants? What kind of learning environment do you want to create and why? So are you inviting experts to tell about their experience? Do you want the participants to explore something together, for example, with an escape room or with working on topics and discovering it together? Do you want to create this supportive environment, safe and brave space? These are the place where you can describe this. Which methodology or overall tool will you use? We see often training courses that are based on experiential learning, on theater methods, on outdoor education or adventure education, but also tools like the theory or the creative tools, paint and arts. So it can be anything. For people, that's usually quite interesting to read if there's already kind of direction in the methodology. And are there any specific method or tool appearing in your program? So how do they then be in the program? So we're going to do a lot of things around active listening, and then you can see that in the program appearing. So this is a bit how do you approach. It doesn't have to be too long, but it can give the applicants the feeling of, okay, this is the one for me. I think I can work with that, and I can I can use this training course very well. Okay, anything else that is important to mention? Sometimes we are doing things in outdoors, for example, some conditions that are in the mountains. So any physical conditions that are relevant, if it's very hot, if it's very cold, if it's, yeah, it's good to mention so people can make their own decision if they want to come or not. Anything around inclusion and diversity. If you really target a broad group, then just make it. We would like to see a diverse group applying. So you can make a bit of extra effort to say that you have been thinking about creating conditions for people with special needs. So here you can mention it. Sometimes it works to explain a bit the expected time investment if you have a kickoff meeting somewhere, if you have some homework that they have to do or prepare something, that's good to mention. And maybe additional information like visa in the case that you have a target group that might need a visa. Okay, and then the draft program. That's the second part of your call, and actually the draft program is your translation of your approach, aims and objectives, and it has to be coherent with the aims and objectives. For the call, you don't need to be very specific. Just give a general overview, kind of the program flow, and so they have a kind of peak or first impression of what they will do. No exact timings and no details are needed. So you don't have to have everything ready, but you can say, okay, in the first day we're going to work on the group environment and get to know each other. And on the second day we're going to dive into the topic and we're going to explore this tool, that kind of things you can write in. Then the application form. This is a questionnaire for potential participants to apply. It's a form where applicants can express their needs and motivation. So give them also the opportunity with the right questions so they can give you relevant information about how they work with young people, what the challenges are they face, what kind of why they want to participate in this training course and why they should be selected, because it's also the document that will help NAs to select. So you can help participants to be selected by asking relevant questions, especially when it comes to how they work with young people. And applications can give you more insight in what applicants need, so it can also be useful for you later when they are selected to check what are their needs and how you can address those needs in the program and maybe to make possible changes. Okay, so tips for preparing the call. So the call is there for people to find a useful TC for them, but also to find the right people. So it's a kind of this double thing. So they need to find and they need to have the feeling that, okay, this is the training course exactly for me. And for you, it's good to find the right people. So make sure that the description is coherent with the target group you want. Make sure what other calls are out there and you compete with. So if you're doing a training course on digital tools, then make sure that you know more or less in that period what kind of other training courses tackle this topic. So and think about what makes your course different from theirs. So also participants again can choose and they know why they choose yours or not. Make it as attractive as you can. Sometimes asking a triggering question can be helpful or painting a possible result. So, would you like to see your young people go happy to a new workplace? That could be, for example, and that's very idealistic, but you can help this or have you ever felt really sad if you cannot find a good way to to work with this kind of young people. That kind of things you can write. Be realistic in your aims and objectives for the 4 or 5 days training course. Sometimes we see objectives and aims that make a life-changing thing. It's only 4 days or 5 days, so it can be life-changing, but also be realistic about your aims and objectives. And be aware of how much you limit or open up. So sometimes opening up for a broad target group is helpful, but sometimes it's not specific enough. That could also be a specific. If you work with deaf people and you want to make a training course for this target group or hard of hearing people, it can be very interesting for other groups to meet people who really have the same experiences. But of course, it only means that a few people will apply. So just check up how much you want to limit and open up. So good luck and make it an irresistible call.